Okay, thanks for tuning in to Transversals and Angle Pairs. This is 2.3. It's got a good deal of vocab, and then it's got some important facts about some new angle pairs. Okay. So, parallel lines they're actually coplanar, and they don't intersect. So, parallel lines, we could write, how about line AD, that red one right here, is parallel to BC. And notice how in the picture, when you have two parallel lines, there's actually a plane that you can draw that they both sit on. Even if you chose like FG, which is like down here, there's still a plane that you can draw. It would be diagonal, but it still goes through those two lines. So that's why we say parallel lines are coplanar, because no matter what parallel lines you pick, they can actually be on the same plane. Big one here is perpendicular. Perpendicular lines are, for example, how about AB right here in front, and BF. We use this symbol for perpendicular because it's a little T shape, which is kind of the shape that's made, that right angle shape. When these two intersect, they kind of make that T shape, right? Whereas the parallel line symbol, or just the parallel symbol, looks like two parallel lines, right? Well, so does perpendicular. Okay, so they make right angles. Okay, so that's our definition, is that perpendicular lines make right angles, period. There's nothing about 90 degrees. There's nothing about a right triangle. It's just a right angle. Okay? So that's important, because if we use this in our proof, we need to know what to write down for our statement when we use this reason. And it's right angle. All right, a new word that you probably haven't heard before is skew. And skew lines, just as if something were askew, they're really just random and like totally going in opposite directions. So they don't intersect like parallel lines, but they also just don't even exist in the same plane. So they don't touch, and you can't draw a plane that has both of them like you could with parallel lines. This little property over here on the left, you can't do that. So let me give you an example. How about line AD and BF? So AD is here and BF is here. Those lines will never touch. And they're not parallel because they don't look like the parallel line symbol. Right? One of them's going up and down, one of them's going like front and back. So those are called skew lines. And parallel planes, of course, are planes that don't intersect, which is really rare. But you take those yellow planes in the picture, those are parallel. Okay? I already mentioned it, but the symbol for parallel is two little lines like that. And to convert, I would say line AB is parallel to line CD. Notice we're talking about objects here, so I'm putting the line symbol. And this is the perpendicular symbol. And if I convert, it would be line QR is perpendicular to line ST. Okay, so real quick, just some questions. Name a segment parallel to AB. Well, how about EF? They're in the same plane, and they don't touch. Parallel. Perpendicular. How about this one? AD. They do make a right angle. That's the only reason I know they're perpendicular. So they make that right angle. Skew. A couple choices. DH is what came to me first. Because those lines don't touch. But they also aren't quite parallel. You could have also said FG, EH. Okay. Name a pair of parallel planes. So make sure you have 3 letters here. How about the left and right planes? And this is name a name a pair of planes that are not parallel. What about the top? And the back, maybe? So this is the question on the test, right? This green plane here and this blue plane back here. They touch, right? So they're not parallel. And they touch along line. Line BC. Okay. So a transversal is this thing. It is a line that intersects 2 or more lines at distinct points. Distinct means that 1, they're visible, and 2 is knowing that they're labeled as well. So line T is the transversal, because it is hitting 2 or more lines. The interior angles are the ones that are shaded in the interior, which would be 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the exterior angles are 1, 2, 7, and 8. Okay? So we're about to label some angle pairs, and each one of them is either going to be interior or exterior, and it's also going to be on the same side of T or on opposite sides of T. So there's 4 of them. So same side interior angles are interior angles, so they exist in here. And they lie, so there's only 4 angles in there, and they lie on the same side of the transversal. So we're talking about angles 7 and 8, and angles 3 and 4. So I'll just circle one of them. Okay? So when we have lines and they cut here, we're talking about those 2 angles. Alternate interior are also in the interior. So we could copy this. But instead of being on the same side, they're actually on opposite sides. So something like 3 and 7. Okay, so those would look something like this. And alternate exterior angles are the exact same thing, but we're looking at ones that are on opposite sides of the transversal, but they're on the exterior. So that would be like 1 and 5. And 2 and 6. And then finally, corresponding has not 2 angle pairs, but actually 4. And corresponding so if I redraw the numbering around these, corresponding means that like this first angle 1 goes with angle 7 because they're in the same spot around the intersection. So they occur on the same side and have corresponding positions. So what that means is 1 and 7 go together. 2 and 4 go together. 3 and 8 go together. And 5 and 6 go together. So they look something like this. So one's on the interior, one's on the exterior always. And they're just in corresponding positions if you were to like dice this up into 4 parts. So like this part goes with this part. Okay. So for some practice, let's list a pair of each type using the picture. So same side interior angles, how about 3 and 6? And these are a package deal. Corresponding, how about 1 and 5? So interior, but on opposite sides, how about 4 and 6? And opposite sides of T, but on the exterior, how about 1 and 7? Okay, so we'll work more with these angle pairs next time. So go ahead and try out the homework. A lot of it's just repetition so that you get practice with these angle pair names.